Shall we move into our grading?
That's right. Yeah,
it's the right time.
Yeah, we'll. I think we've covered all the rumors for now, so we'll get to our grades. So we're kind of we did the power rankings last week that Formula1.com did. That was basically the mid-season ones. So this is sort of similar, but just a bit different in terms of we kind of give out the old school report cards, the letter grades, like you did back in elementary school. So we're basing that off of course, the first how many? We had 12 races so far up until the break, I think. So basing it off of the first half of the season. So we'll take into account obviously the teams, and then we'll do the drivers as well. So this is including everything. So all elements included. Take it any way you want, but it's just our general grades. And then after we're done, you guys can chime in on the comments, see if you agree with what our report cards are for each teams and drivers, and let us know in the comments what you think of each driver, each team, and what grades and how their performances have been so far this season. So first one we'll start with the championship leaders, Mercedes.
Okay.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think we should do. We'll name the grades like at the same time, and then we can do a little debate, see where we're at.
Okay.
I have B+ for Mercedes.
Okay, I just want to see what I wrote down here. Okay, I had an A for Mercedes.
Okay, that's very similar. They're not as dominant as they were the last 3 years. That's really my only reason why I have them not at an A. That's my argument.
Okay. Fair enough.
There's not much to say about them.
The reason why I gave them an A, and I guess I'll kind of foreshadow a little bit to say that I ranked them higher than Ferrari. The reason why is because, like you said, they haven't had as strong of a year. They've had, a couple of reliability issues in terms of a DNF. Hamilton hasn't been on his game as he usually is. And yet, after all this, he's still leading the championship by 24 points. Mercedes is still leading the Constructors' Championship. So they're still well in the game. It feels like Ferrari should be much farther ahead considering the pretty good year that they've had. Pretty clean year as well. But yet Mercedes is still there and they're still in the lead. So I gave them an A based on the fact that even though they have, to me, taken just a slight step back, maybe like an inch here and there, they still seem to be the team to beat. And somehow they're just there at every weekend contending for a race win. So that's why I gave them an A. Okay. And then inside the Mercedes team, Lewis Hamilton, I'd probably say I'd give Lewis a B+. Again, championship leader. He's done well to hang in there, even though Ferrari has had the better car overall. Earlier on in the season, questionable in terms of where his mentality was at in terms of his focus in some of the races. But, when you look at a race like Spain, for example, or France, or even the last couple ones like Germany, where he was completely down and out and ended up winning the race, it looks like he's slowly starting to come back on form and looks motivated as ever to win the championship. So B+ for him. Valtteri, I'd probably say a C+ for Valtteri. And a lot of that is attributed to the bad luck that he has had. The car issues, in Austria, what else? What was it?
Running into the Ferraris.
Running into the Ferraris, yeah, the Red Bulls, Azerbaijan, that's what I wanted to say. The puncture while he was leading the race. Austria, the gearbox, like I mentioned. So I think that he's actually had a pretty good season, a much better season than last season, but just because of that bad luck that he's had, and in certain races, like let's say Bahrain, where he could have maybe sent it on the inside a little bit, he showed at times this season that he's lacking in that little bit of the killer instinct to go for the win. So that's what I'm going to leave it at for Valtteri.
I have Lewis at an A-. Winning races, he's just consistent Lewis. He's performing very well this season under pressure, under a lot of pressure, under Ferrari pressure, which I think is impressive. So I have him at an A-, and I have Valtteri at a B. And I took away some of that bad luck because some of it's not his fault, but at the same time, he does deserve an A because of the mistakes he's made. And really, it comes down to the contact with other cars, especially was it last race or the race before? His contact with Vettel and then and then Danny Rick.
Yep, last race. Yep.
Last race, yeah. I think he seems a little frustrated in the Mercedes car. I think he can't handle the pressure of being Lewis's kind of second fiddle, which is unfortunate because he is a very talented driver, and I have a lot of respect for Valtteri, but I think he deserves a lot more credit than where he's getting due. But I don't think he's at the point where he can just be cool under pressure and deal with having a lot of people look at him saying, why aren't you winning more races, being better at qualifying, beating Lewis? There's a lot of people asking you that, and I think that's bothering him.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely has to get to him. I mean, it's kind of like the second year already that he's doing this number 2 driver gig. But I would agree, that bad luck, some of it isn't his fault, but then the mistakes, qualifying in Australia, for example, and then the other ones that we mentioned. So I think eventually he's going to have to stop being such a nice guy, next season, because obviously this season's sort of a wrap for him in terms of championship contention. So next season, if he wants to really be a true championship contender in a car that will most likely be at the top of the field again, I think he's going to have to get his elbows out, so to speak, and really try and push Lewis, similar to the way Nico Rosberg did in 2016. And, if that comes at the cost of a relationship with Lewis, then who cares? You got
to get an F1 driver's title at some point.
Exactly.
Ferrari, I have them at A- for this season.
I exact same for me.
A-, okay. Yeah. I think it's a very big improvement from last year for Ferrari, and they've had the results to show for that. They have had some issues, of course, and I think they should be leading the Constructors' Championship, in my mind. That's why they're not getting an A+. But it's enough that for them that they've had so much improvement. They're up there with the Mercedes. If not, they're the better car at most of the tracks. It's just been bad luck that hasn't gone their way.
Yep. For me, I gave A- as well. If I look at just the team itself, taking the drivers out of it, I agree. The leaps and bounds that they've made in sort of the technical race, they're changing things almost race to race, improving things. I mean, we saw the exhaust system that they have, putting the mirrors on the halos, and then the aero trims inside the mirrors itself that eventually, kind of got banned. So, Ferrari's been known to always push the rules and sometimes break them as well. But they have really continued the R&D development this year to, better than Mercedes has. Reliability-wise, they haven't had an issue yet this season, which is,
remarkable.
Knock on wood for them, I guess, that continues. But eventually you can assume something might...
Has a Ferrari engine gone bad this year?
Not really. I mean, there's another good point that you bring up.
Leclerc had his engine go, or is it a gearbox?
I can't remember which race. But to be honest with you, I don't think that they've had any big issue. Nothing like a MGUK related or...
No, nothing hugely serious.
Yeah. So and not only that, but the power as well. They've improved this year too to become that. For the first time in the turbo hybrid era, you could argue that they have the most powerful engine on the grid, and it's showing in their quote unquote B teams like Haas and even Sauber. Yeah, their pace is a lot better this year. So yeah, for me, A-. The reason they don't get an A+ for me as well is just certain team mistakes. Strategy. Yeah, strategy is one of the big ones in certain races. China, for example, and then other things too. Pit stops have been sort of dodgy this year for them. Of course, Bahrain when Kimi snapped his rear tireman's leg in half.
Oh man, that poor guy.
Yeah, hopefully he's doing well. I think he's recovering pretty well, so he should be back probably.
Hopefully he gets workman's comp.
Yeah, I would assume so.
It's a tough one.
From Kimi too, especially.
Yeah, Kimi better bottomless bottle of champagne or something.
Yeah. So that as well, and then just in general, I think since then they've been a bit more cautious with their pit stops, and then their strategy in terms of how they dealt with Raikkonen. Or the earlier races, they just left Kimi out there in certain stints, and they favored the strategy towards Sebastian Vettel, and then Raikkonen would have pretty much no guidance, no strategy. So I think they kind of screwed themselves out of a couple of constructors' points there, and also potential race wins for himself and Vettel as well.
I have Sebastian Vettel at an A- for drivers. really the only reason why he's not at A+ is the mistake in the rain that cost him the win. That's the only thing I can think of that he's done wrong this year. I don't know about you.
Yeah, A- for me too.
Okay.
The 2 mistakes in Baku.
Okay,
where he locked up.
Yeah.
And then mistake in the rain.
And you know what? The other one actually I have is not overtaking Danny Ricciardo in Monaco.
And
he should have won that race.
now it's all starting to come back. France.
C+.
Maybe let me rethink that.
Stick with the A-, be generous for
yeah.
some.
No. For sure, stick with the A-. Like I said, for the most part, he's been really good this season. But he has had those couple of lapses in judgment. So, but then again, he's still going for it.
Yep.
But like I said, the mistake in Germany was just more like, what are you doing?
Just before we keep going here, how many A+ have you given out for drivers
so far?
In general, in your thing. Don't tell me who. I just want to know how many you've given out and how many for teams.
Well, I'm trying to think. I don't think I gave any A+ for drivers, to be honest with you.
Okay, I have one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not our next driver, Kimi Räikkönen. I have an A to Kimi Räikkönen, though. Solid, just point off A. And I think he's been one of the best drivers on the grid so far this year. Really showed his determination and wanting to be in the sport and showing his competitiveness. Has been fantastic in qualifying. Really good in the race. I think he deserves a race win. I think he's going to get it this year as well. And I've been saying that since the start of the season. He's been lights out for me. I think he's been the better of the 2 Ferrari drivers.
Yep. I would agree with everything you said. For me, I give him B+. Just for the fact that just lacking in the results in the first half of the season a little bit. But
are those really his fault, or is that the team's decision?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think.
I
think the team doesn't help, of course, when you're pretty much outright number 2 driver in that terms. But he's pretty much driven himself into almost another contract. We've said that there's rumors that he's signed some sort of a deal with Ferrari to return. He's the most consistent driver in the last 5 races.
Yeah, he has been.
Podium all races. So since the Leclerc rumors started, he's gone on this amazing run of form. So, good for him for pretty much just shutting everybody up and just, essentially driving himself into another potential F1 contract. So I think that he will get a race win at some point this year. He might need a little bit of luck. He might need Sebastian Vettel just dozing off and touching a wall here and there, or something like that, but he definitely deserves a win.
Off to Red Bull. As the team, I gave them a B-.
Okay.
Really, it's been a lot of engine trouble for Red Bull, hasn't it? And kind of thinking they could almost deserve a lower grade. What did you give them?
B- as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Geez, we're really consistent. We didn't look over this. We both haven't shared each other's
we didn't.
grades, so.
But we agree to agree.
We agree to agree, yeah. Not a great season for Red Bull. I think next year will be even worse, to be honest. A lot of it has to do, again, with their Renault engines. You kind of feel bad for them, don't you? Not a lot they can do, is there? Unless it's an installation that's going wrong with the Renault engines, because the Renaults are fine.
Yeah, which is funny, right?
Yeah.
McLarens are fine, too, for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave them B- as well. It's true, a lot of their issues have come not of their own. They've won, let's see, 4 races this year. Ricardo's won
Monaco,
China.
Did they win 4? I thought they only won 3.
Max has won Austria. So only 3?
I think they only won 3.
Okay, so
I'll
I
check.
guess they only.
I'll check.
No, they had to have won another race, I think. Boy, my memory just during the summer break is just gone.
What is F1?
Yeah, exactly. How do you spell it?
F2. That was a terrible joke. Let me see what they have here.
So it was definitely, if we go in order, it was China for sure. After China, it would have been Monaco. So yeah, it only had to be 3.
2018 season. Double retirement in Bahrain. Ricardo took the team's first win in China. Both drivers crashed each other in Azerbaijan.
That was fun.
Verstappen got podium in Spain. Ricardo won in Monaco. That's it.
Yeah. So three
So
races
three
this
races.
year. So I mean, not bad, but certainly not to their level. They were hoping to
No.
contend for championship, and without their engine issues, they probably would be up there. Excuse me.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, that's sort of why I gave them a B minus, because when everything comes together for them, they're hard to beat.
And as far as drivers, I have Max as a B plus. A lot of that, what reason why he's not in it, had to do with the beginning of the season, but there's so much positivity with how he took the first 3 races of the season and then just was lights out ever since. And for Danny Rick, I have a B. Just an average season for Danny Rick. He's either hot or he's not, I find.
Mm-hmm.
Like amazing overtakes, or he can't pass anyone. I don't know what it is with him.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I gave Max a B, and then I gave Ricardo a B as well.
Okay.
I agree with that too. Ricardo has been hit or miss in certain points of the season. Like I said, like in China, he's super on it. Monaco, he's super on it. And then other races, like in Hungary, for example, they just completely got his qualifying setup incorrect.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. He's qualifying has been his weak point, I think, in his career. So hope, in Renault, I feel like it's going to be maybe hard for him to improve that, but he's going to need to really, because most of the race wins that he's had have come from 10th on the grid, 6th on the grid. Monaco was the first one he actually won from pole position.
Yeah.
Or within the top 3 of the grid. So, Max has outperformed him in that sense. But Verstappen, tough to start to the year for him. And then really improved after all the media hoopla that came out about his driving style and stuff like that. We're still yet to see, I think, his full potential because of the car, because of the team situation.
I think we're 5 years away from that.
Yeah, well, I mean, even sooner. I think we could 2 to 3 years maybe. Now that Ricardo's gone,
but he won't be at his peak in 2-3 years. He'll be at his peak in 5 to 7.
Yeah, and he's only gonna be 25 then, 26. So he's got a ton of time left in the sport still if he wants. So disappointing, I think, for both drivers and for the team. Now that you have Ricardo announcing he's gone at the end of the year, I think now it's just sort of let's see if we can get the best results. Let's see what we can develop. Big questions, obviously, with their engine change for next season. And like you said, who knows? It could be even worse for them next season. But out of who do you think would be better out of the 2 drivers this season? I think Verstappen or Ricardo, would you say?
Who's been better?
Yeah.
Max. That's why I gave him a higher grade.
Yeah.
See, it's a question for you because you have them both as Bs.
That's what I mean, right?
But it is Max for me. And just because he's been more consistent.
Maybe it's Ricardo for me just because that's my homie.
Yeah, you're a big Danny Rick fan.
Who isn't?
So am I.
Yeah, who isn't?
But
yeah, I'd have to think about that one for sure. Who's next?
Well, since we're on Danny Rick, let's move to Renault next.
Renault, next team. That's right.
And they actually have my highest team grade, and that's an A.
Okay.
Not an A+. If they had an A+, they would have had a podium by now.
Yeah.
A podium, they would have had an A+ in my mind. But they just have been phenomenal with the amount of progression they've made from last season, and you can see how much ambition they have to challenge the big 3 and make it a big 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's improved a lot this year. They're very, very consistent, very, very reliable, and I really understand Danny Rick's move to Renault. It's a shock at first, but it makes total sense now because it's just of the strides that they've made over the one season. Could only imagine, especially with the new aero regulations coming in, kind of shuffles the grid up a little bit. Not totally, because there's still power units, but it shuffles it up a little bit, and I think they can pounce on that.
Yeah, they've had kind of a under the radar season a little bit. I mean, of course, we always talk about the big teams, but the midfield battle sort of gets a little bit left out. But they're winning it pretty cleanly, 4th in the constructors right now. So they've made a good leap forward, I think, since the last 2 years. I gave them a B+. I think they could have been a little bit better in certain qualifying sessions this year. Now, of course, obviously that depends on your drivers as well.
Right.
There's been a lot of sort of like the drama going on between them with Red Bull and the
Yeah.
whole Renault, deal and stuff like that. But I think that, in terms of reliability, they've been pretty good. With the exception of I think Hulkenberg in Austria.
I think that's the only one.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. So they've been pretty solid. Now the question is, can they get up there for a potential podium? One of the
Force India did it.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm sure
mean,
they
right?
can do it.
If Force India can do it, I think Renault should be there, right? Yeah. Are we going to start to see them beat Red Bull? Who knows?
Well, who knows with Honda next year?
Right.
They could 100% be number 3 in constructors next year.
That's what Cyril Abiteboul is saying, that they're poised to compete for championships now. That they're ready to go. Their engine's going to be better, and they still want to improve their chassis and stuff like that. But he seems really high up on their chances next season of.
Could you imagine they just kind of like rolled out like an almost 2019 spec car in Abu Dhabi just to screw with the rest of the grid and win? Like it just like dominate. Like just pull it out of their butt and just be like, yeah, this is what we have next year.
Right. We'll see, but they have a history of always winning championships when they're in the sport.
They do.
Maybe Danny Rick made the right choice. But
Maybe Danny Rick's your next champion.
Yeah.
With Renault.
B+ for me, for Renault. Just a team that's has been consistent for this season.
I have Hulkenberg at an A-. He's had a good year, but he hasn't kind of peaked yet and got a podium. Carlos at a B+. His qualifying could be a lot better.
Yeah.
Other than Hungary. He had a really good qualifying in Hungary, did he not?
Or is it in the rain? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
he was
so.
like 4th. But then he fell back really bad in the race.
Something like that, yeah.
Like finished terribly. He didn't keep 4th at all.
Yeah. I had Carlos Sainz at a B- and Hulkenberg at a B. Sainz has disappointed me a little bit this season. He's had some good results, but I think his highest finish was P5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Which is good. But I mean, like last year, for example, with Toro Rosso, he had a P4 finish.
Yeah.
But I would agree, like his qualifying in certain races just hasn't been good. Hulkenberg has outdone him in that sense. So with rumors of a potential Red Bull seat, being available throughout the season, I think he's kind of fallen a bit short of the mark for me.
And that's why he's not there.
Yeah, exactly. And he hasn't dazzled in certain races, you know what I mean? He's just sort of always like, oh, he's there.
Yeah.
He hasn't been like a Leclerc where it's like, whoa, like, where did this come from? Or, look at these overtakes, look at, the way he managed his way through this race. So he's kind of been a bit quiet for me in this season, especially with his situation being on loan, not exactly sure where he's going to end up. So I think just a bit of a subpar season for Sainz. And then Hulkenberg, similar the same way, right? Like Hulkenberg's your always steady in the points driver, out qualifying, out racing his teammate, still in search of that podium. I think his highest finish has been P6
this season.
Yeah. So not bad for the Hulk. Now he's got a new teammate coming in for next year.
Hope Hulk knows he's number 2 driver.
Probably. I think he might be a career number 2 driver, unfortunately.
It's too bad. Well, he was number 1 with Renault for the longest time.
Yeah, and now you could just say number 1 this season as well. Yeah. But I hope that he can use the end of this year sort of as a launching pad for next year, especially if Renault will be more competitive.
Well, I hope those two can tag off each other.
I think they should. I think they're pretty tight off track as well.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard because they live in Monaco, so they
of course
work out together or whatever they do. So I think that could be a pretty good driver partnership. Nico seems like a really smart guy and is really good at his racecraft. So definitely, I think that should be an exciting partnership, and their personalities are good too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. But that's my take for Renault.
Let's move on. Move on quickly here. Next up, we'll do Haas up next. I have them down as an A-. They've had some great results, especially at the start of the year. Really were very good in terms of. You can see Chris's shoulder, my shot there. Almost. That's good hustle by you. Battery running low.
I was trying to be really inconspicuous.
Yeah. Well, we have to use one of their shots, and
That's right.
it's gonna be this one that with your shoulder in my face.
You were saying?
Don't worry, Chris saved the day, everyone. A-. They had a very good start to the year. Have kind of kept that throughout the season. I think Renault's just kind of jumped them, but they've been very consistent, and I think there's a lot looking up for them. Pretty good for a team that's only in its third season.
Yeah, exactly.
Third season, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
2016 they came in, so
Yeah.
yeah, third season. Yeah, I gave him a B+. Showed off great potential in that first race, and then sort of went a bit downhill from there. But it seems like they've gotten their season back on track in that terms, and then they had their best finish ever in Austria. I think Haas will do even better with the right driver pairing.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Magnussen has really come out of his shell this season and is sort of starting to lose. I mean, a lot of people still have run-in incidents with Magnussen, but
Suck my balls, mate.
similar to that. Yeah, maybe not at that badly, but I think with another strong driver in there, they'll show as well. So whether they're using a lot of Ferrari parts
Esteban
or
Ocon?
possibly, maybe.
I mean, Ferrari driver, but
Yeah.
he's not a Ferrari driver.
Leclerc. I don't know.
That's right. We were talking about Leclerc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, absolutely Leclerc.
Right.
No, that should be the answer.
Yeah,
right away.
yeah. So I don't know how much they're taking from Ferrari and stuff like that, but they've certainly made a big step forward this
I
season.
think they've taken everything except for the wing mirrors
And the logo and the skins. I'm just trying to check
and the drivers.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see.
They have fifth. Yeah.
Fifth in the driver standing. So what are they? 66. So they're not too far behind with Renault. So, they're still in contention to finish top of the midfield if they have a really strong finish to the end of this season. So, good for Haas. I think definitely a positive season, and with a ton of races still to go, so they could really turn it on in the last 9 or 10 races or so.
I think so. I have Magnussen at an A for my driver rating for him. Like it basically just teeing off exactly what you said. You're
Mhm.
really breaking out of his shell this year, and I think could be a very big threat next year in terms of just a consistent race car driver. For Roman, I originally had it a B+. What I wrote down. I think I'm gonna tier that to a C+. I'm not sure why I wrote B+. Like just rethinking of it. It's been disappointing, hasn't it? He's crashed into a wall by himself. He hasn't really had too many great results. He's complaining a lot. Always complaining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's wrong. Maybe troubles at home. No, I was kidding. I think he has a really cute kid.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing that on his Instagram or something. I could be wrong. Watch me
Maybe.
say he has a kid. He doesn't.
I think he does. Yeah.
I'm gonna look now.
He is married. I know that for sure.
I know he's married.
While Tyler stalks Romain Grosjean's family. I gave Kevin Magnussen.
He doesn't have. Am I spelling his name right? Does he not have Instagram?
He might have one of those weird handles like
Oh no, he does. I
at
spelled his
Blame Erickson 01.
No, I spelled his name wrong.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
I'm just checking. Yeah, I gave Kevin Anderson.
Kevin Anderson.
No.
Where is that? Who is Kevin Anderson?
A South African tennis player.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, that's right.
Watching a lot of tennis nowadays. That's where that comes
He
from.
played. He's in Wimbledon, was he not?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. He was in the Wimbledon final. Not Kevin Anderson, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Magnussen.
Could you imagine Kevin Anderson?
He wouldn't fit in a
He
car.
wouldn't fit in the car.
Yeah. I gave him an A. I did Magnussen. Again, like we were just saying, a fantastic season for him. Really starting to show his talent in Formula One in the last couple seasons. He hasn't really been able to do that. Now with a better car under his feet, he can show a little bit more of his potential as well. So I think that's really good for K-Mag. And then Grosjean, I gave Grosjean a C-.
Fair. Actually,
Just
I'm gonna up his
bad.
grade here.
Yeah.
Just looking at his Instagram. I don't think he has a kid.
Okay.
But for selfie taking, A+.
Yeah?
Like A+ for selfie taking. This guy's Instagram, fantastic. I mean, like the way he can take a like I can't take a selfie like that. He's got the full shot in the background. Great smile on him.
He does have a great smile.
He does. Like he does have a good smile. It can be very marketable if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Let me kind of post here, see if I can find a good selfie that he took of himself. That was a bad one. Not too many bad ones though for Roman. Hold on, let me see here. Like this is a great one with his wife. Like, I don't know if we can show it to the camera. Man.
Follow Roman Grosjean. You'll find it all.
It's literally a photo of him and his wife.
Yeah.
Great Insta. Great selfie. Good for him.
Yeah.
A+ on selfies.
All right. Who's next?
I
we're
think
slowly
it's
running
McLaren.
out of footage, I think.
Yeah, we'll hurry this last little bit up. It is the BackMarkers.
It's the teams that don't matter. It's us. It's the BackMarkers.
Very well done. McLaren, I have a B. They've been all right this season. Nothing too special. I mean, they're not failing as much as they did last year, which is good. Alonso, I have a B+. He's had a solid season. Very good qualifying. Always pushing, never giving up attitude, and something we're going to miss next season.
Yeah.
And for Stoffel, I have a D. He's been dreadful. D for
D
dreadful.
for dreadful.
Well done. That's it.
McLaren, I gave a D+, just because, we're seeing now that Honda wasn't really the main issue. There's a lot of issues, I think, in internally with their team, with management. They got rid of Boulier. I don't know. It's just McLaren always seems like they've coming up with excuses, but now I think at the end of this season they're going to have nobody to blame but themselves. So, I mean, D+ might be a little bit harsh just because, when I take a look at the constructor standings, they are 7th. They are within touching difference of Force India and even Haas. So they've had a much better season, probably the best season they've had in the turbo hybrid era. So maybe it's a bit harsh, but we expect a lot more out of a team like McLaren. Fernando, I give A+.
Oh.
So I changed. I had an A for Fernando.
So you're only A+.
A+ because it's his last season.
Fair enough.
Because he's just wrestling that car into points. And then conversely, just a flat C for Stoffel.
Yeah.
He's been trying to find a C word to describe Stoffel, but I can't think of one. Confusing, sure, yeah. He's been okay, but a step down from his performances last year.
Yeah.
Last year he was actually pushing Fernando in terms of qualifying and even in the race, and we're not seeing that at all this year. So he's taken a big step back, and so far back that we're thinking that he might not even return next season. So
moving on,
That's
I've got Toro Rosso, B+ for them. They've had some great finishes so far this season. The only A+ driver I have this season is Pierre Gasly.
Nice.
So far, he's been fantastic, the kid. Nothing bad to say about him. 4th, he's had some great results. Bright future for the kid. He's going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Complete opposite spectrum. Hartley, I have a D. Hasn't scored a point this season, and his teammates scored 4th.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yep. Yeah.
I like you as a driver. I like you as a guy, but gotta get
Ouch.
some results, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, Toro Rosso was a B+. I think with the Honda engine, a lot of uncertainties. They've done a good job. I think they've probably finished higher. Their highest finish has been higher than McLaren.
Yeah.
I think even Renault with the P4 from Gasly, no less.
Yeah.
So that's been phenomenal, I think, for Toro Rosso. So good things to come for them moving into 2019. Pierre Gasly, I would give him a B+ as well. Phenomenal job from the youngster.
Just a B+?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to be a bit different than you.
I'm sticking my A+.
Yeah, I'll be B+ for
Best
Pierre
driver
Gasly.
on the grid this season. That's a stretch.
That's a stretch. A little bit, yeah. And then Hartley, I'll give him a flat D.
Yeah.
Yeah, D for
disappointing.
Disappointing. There you go.
I'm not mad, Brendan. I'm disappointed.
I'm
That's the
disappointed.
worst thing you ever want to hear.
That's right.
To the BackMarkers now, like the real BackMarkers. We'll just skim through these quickly. Sauber, I have a C+. With Ericsson a D-, not an F, D-, close. Very disappointing in Ericsson. I think he's been irrelevant.
Okay.
Irrelevant is the right word for that.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Leclerc, I have an A. He's been fantastic. Like again, one of the teams, 2 opposite spectrums. And the Sauber team has had some good improvement from last year.
Yeah. So Sauber for me, in terms of the team, let me just see what I had. I got a C for Sauber.
Yeah.
Of course, big help the fact that you have a current F1 engine in the back of your car.
That's huge.
Yeah. They're not behind in that sense, and they've seemed like they've sort of been able to get a better technical partnership with Ferrari. Yeah, so I like the fact that their Alfa Romeo's back in the game. So a C for me for Sauber. Charles Leclerc, an A for me. I mean, he's driven so well this season that he's pretty much almost driven himself into a Ferrari seat for 2019. Whether that will happen, looking like it's unlikely. But the fact that we're even talking about that is quite remarkable. I mean, this is a rookie driver. So he's had some phenomenal drives this season. Getting a Sauber into Q3, which we haven't seen for the last couple of years. He's completely outclassed Marcus Ericsson, which I bring Marcus Ericsson to a C-.
C-, okay.
I kind of agree with you when you said earlier that he might not be back next year. I thought Verline should have probably gotten the seat for this year, but,
He's
politics.
Not a Ferrari driver.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened there. So Marcus Ericsson, I've been pretty disappointed with the last couple seasons, and it's continued for this season.
I was saying backmarkers, and just because they've been so kind of non-existent, I forgot about them, and I have written down my sheet: Force Canada, Force India.
Oh, did we not do Force
No,
India?
we did it, right? Right? We just did. I was looking at my sheet. I'm like,
sorry,
wait,
guys,
we didn't do Force India.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of says that everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I have him as a D+.
D+?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a real setback from last year.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no doubt about it.
I do have Orcon as a C and Perez at a B+ though.
Okay. Yeah.
Perez has a podium. That helps.
Yeah, that definitely.
He's the only non-top 3 driver, top 3 team driver to have a podium.
Yeah, I had Force India at a C-, 6th in the constructor standings right now, but they are 6 points back of Haas for 5th. But I mean, if you look at from last year, they went from being the top midfield team last couple seasons really, to now being
in administration.
Yeah,
that's also
exactly.
part of D+.
Yeah, for me too. For same, definitely. I mean, the fact that the team has gone to that point.
Stop buying expensive lattes, guys. Stick with the corner store coffee.
Yeah, stick with just straight black coffee.
Yeah, no sugar.
Exactly.
You don't have to be sponsored by Adidas. You can be sponsored by like Admiral or something. They're terrible. Don't be sponsored by them.
Okay. I'll make note of it.
Last team, Williams.
I mean, is there really any much to think about it?
I have an F for them. The only team, obviously, with an F.
Yep. Same.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
Yeah,
God awful.
F is not for fun in this instance.
No,
for
it's
Williams.
for froid, cold in French. I have Stroll at a C, just because I think he's done when he could with the car, and he has points, which is the only points Williams has. And I have Sorokin as an F. And
Okay.
he's been the worst driver on the grid. No, second worst. Ericsson's been the worst.
Okay. Yeah. That I didn't even give them a grades just because attendance has been 0. I mean, I really haven't noticed them in races, so I can't grade them because they're so far back. I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
They're not showing up for class.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, have you even been in this semester? Like, what's going on here, boys? So, but I mean, I'm on a similar sort of path. There is, unfortunately, not much to say about this one storied team. Hopefully Lance can get out of there and move into Force India and be a little bit more competitive, and then we can actually sort of judge him legitimately, once he has a good car with him. But yeah, I don't, Sorokin, I really don't know, whether it's the car's that bad or he's just not that good. But yeah, he doesn't have a point either, right?
Sorokin, no.
Yeah, so
it's only him, Hartley,
and I think that's it.
and Ericsson.
Ericsson has points.
Ericsson has points?
Yeah, he got it in Bahrain, I think.
Oh, wow. Miracle.
Yeah. Something like it wasn't much.
Sorokin, I'll change it then. Sorokin's the worst driver on the grid.
There you go.
Ericsson has points.
F is for final statement on that.
Fun fact, this piece of paper has 25% cotton in it. Who would have thought?
Now you know.
Yeah. There's a random F1 backmarkers fact of the day.
Yeah, we are environmentally friendly here at our show.
We use 75% paper and 25% cotton.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good reviews. Let us know down below. You don't have to let us know every driver if you don't want to. Whatever you like to do. Your overall review of the F1 season so far at the midsummer break, and maybe your top team and your worst team. Well, don't go worst team. That's been Williams. Your most improved team and your most disappointing team. Let us know in the comment section down below.
And if you had to give a grade for the first half of the season,
What would it be?
yeah,
Oh, you're asking me.
yeah,
Oh, A minus. A minus. It hasn't been too many as much drama, but it's been very good racing and very a lot of drivers mixing in there, but
Okay.
not too much drama yet. We don't have a Vettel crashing into Lewis for no reason,
yeah.
or Nico and Hamilton fighting each other. Like, that hasn't happened yet.
I'd say A.
A?
Like what I'm seeing so far in terms of the on-track stuff, the off-track stuff, what they're doing on social media,
It's been very good.
their videos, stuff like that. So
Their YouTube page has been awesome.
Yep, good progressions from that. So I like to see that. They're continuing that from last season, of course, with the new owners. But I agree. The one thing that I want for, starting from Belgium going on to the end of the season in Abu Dhabi is the two championship contenders actually battling on track. We've seen more Bottas-Vettel battles than we
Yeah.
have with Hamilton-Vettel. So
Yeah, I agree.
that's got to change somehow. I mean, it's kind of surprising the fact that these two guys have been exchanging the championship lead and have really only overtaken each other like once.
Yeah.
Austria. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. So, yeah, we just more on-track battles for those two.
Yep, I'll agree with you there, which makes for a boring conversation, but I mean, it's true.
Not if they crash into each other.
And
There
then
you go.
Kimi Räikkönen with the win.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed. So I think.
And Renault gets a podium. That'd be the race Renault gets a podium.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now we're really stretching.
Or
it.
Pierre Gasly gets a podium. Whoa, Toro Rosso on a podium? Kimi Räikkönen first. And then Danny Rick second.
Mm.
And then Pierre Gasly third.
Wow. Is that your Belgian Grand Prix predictions?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We'll get into that at our next episode.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so with that in mind, I think that'll be a wrap for us today. This was a pretty long one, but yeah, good.
Very long one, hour 15. But, I mean, worth it.
It's nice to see some news going on in the summer break. We're starting to see a little bit of F1 2018 for the content creators have come out. Fortunately, we didn't get our own copy. Whatever.
We'll get it out when the game comes out.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
It looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah, the game looks great. So August 24th, the release date for that. So make sure you guys get your copy of that. Like Tyler said, looks fantastic. And then a week from now we will be racing in Belgium. So the summer break is over. We can resume with the festivities of Formula One and continue on with the championship battle.
All right.
Anything else from you?
Nothing else from me.
Nothing else from you? All right.
Enjoy the last week of your vacation, and we'll see you in Belgium.
That's right. And always subscribe to us on YouTube. That's the main thing you got to do after every video that you watch. Make sure you're subscribed. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Let them know. And we always want to hear from you. So if you want to be included in our podcast, just send us a tweet, send us a comment on Instagram or on this video, and we'll definitely get back to you. Good?
Good for me.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you next week for the Belgian Grand Prix. Until then, bye for now.